The Chicago Bulls fall to the San Antonio Spurs 129-114. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss. We're also going to be talking about the latest around Jaden Ivey as he has been released by the Chicago Bulls. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to slam dunk on that subscribe button, just like Modest Buzelis slam dunks in games. And so in exchange for slamming on that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Chicago Bulls. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Chicago Bulls Insider family as we talk nothing but Chicago Bulls basketball. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we are talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss against the San Antonio Spurs. And so, look, I think that this was all about the San Antonio Spurs really and their dominance there, especially when it came to their star power, because Victor Wembanyama had a terrific game in this one. And so Wemby, 41 points, a plus 15 in the plus minus box score. He did have the 3 blocks. He had 4 assists, 6 rebounds. He was 4-4 from the free throw line, 3 of 6 from deep, and 17 of 27 from the field in 31 minutes. Also, too, Stephon Castle had a good game as well. And so 21 points, a plus 24 in the plus minus box score, had the 10 assists to go along with 8 rebounds, 6 of 10 from the free throw line, and 3 of 6 from deep, 6 of 12 from the field in 35 minutes. And so the Stars really showed up for the San Antonio Spurs. And for the Chicago Bulls, look, a tough loss in this one. We did have some bright spots, which we're going to talk about here in a moment as we hop into just now the player box score. Then we'll take a look at the team box score. And so starting with Josh Giddey here. And so with Josh Giddey, this was a tough night for him. You notice that he only had 5 shot attempts there. So 3 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from deep, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. And he also had 10 assists along with 7 rebounds as well. He was a negative 18 from the field with 9 points in those 33 minutes. And so a tough night for Josh Giddey there. I think the same thing can be said there for Modest Buzelis. They just really were not able to be impactful right there for the Chicago Bulls in this one. And so Tre Jones has 23 points, a negative 7 in the plus minus box score. He had the 3 assists to go along with 2 rebounds, 2 of 3 from downtown, 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 9 of 13 from the field in 26 minutes. And so we continue to talk about Tre Jones and his impact and really just his way to get to the lane, find ways to be crafty in there and score the basketball. He was super efficient from the field. And once again, I mean, he just shows what he could do on the defensive side of the basketball as well. And so I just liked his effort there across the board. So Tre Jones continues to have a solid season. Modest Buzelis, again, a tough night, just like Josh Giddey. But I talked about this in the last video. You continue to see the growth with him and Josh Giddey as well. But more so, I think, with Modest Buzelis, I like the fact that you see the 3 block shots in this game. And that is something that I think he's going to get even better at, especially as he becomes a lot better with the on-ball defense. But 12 points in this game, a negative 28. He did have the 2 turnovers, the 3 block shots. He had 2 assists, 6 rebounds as well. 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 1 of 6 from downtown. And so another game in which he doesn't get to multiple 3-point makes in this one, 5 of 12 from the field in 28 minutes. Next up, Issac Okoro. And so between Issac Okoro and Garshawn Yabusele, I thought that both of those players played with some effort. They always do. It just didn't show up in the box score, I think, for Issac Okoro as a scorer today. But 6 points, a negative 10 in the plus minus box score. Had 3 rebounds. He was 1 of 3 from deep, 2 of 5 from the field in 25 minutes. Next up, Garshawn Yabusele. And so the effort, the energy was there for him. Didn't knock down as many 3-point shots as we're used to seeing, but he did certainly take them. And so 1 of 6 from downtown, 6 of 8 from the free throw line. So I think he did a great job as far as getting to the line in this one. 15 points, a negative 8 in the plus minus box score. Did have a steal, 2 assists, 5 rebounds in 30 minutes. And so next up, Patrick Williams. And so with Patrick Williams, really not an impact in this one. Just 2 points. He was a +3 in the plus minus box score, 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 4 from deep, 2 of 2 from the free throw line in 21 minutes. Next up, Leonard Millier. And so Leonard Millier, to me, he was the story of this game, along with Colin Sexton. And so you see another great game from Leonard Millier. The activity was there from Leonard Millier. I love the cutting that he was doing. I like the fact that he's knocking down three-point shots, getting to the rim to get to the dunk as well. And he didn't get to the free throw line, surprisingly, in this game, because Leonard Millier does find ways to draw contact and get to the free throw line. But again, just showing his range and just his versatility as a player to find ways to score the basketball. And like always, he's always getting to the boards. And so 21 points, a -9 in the plus minus box score, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. He did have the 6 rebounds, 3 of 8 from downtown and 9 of 14 from the field in 25 minutes. And I will add this too with Leonard Millier. This tells me a lot about him because he responds well after a tough game there against the Grizzlies. And so I always like to see what a player is going to do there. And so I just think that the Bulls really, really have found something with Leonard Millier. Hopefully they work something out long-term with him, as I certainly think that he should be a part of whatever the Bulls are building here. And so next up, Lachlan Olbrich. And so with Lachlan Olbrich, I've been disappointed because I want to see some more minutes from him. I don't like to see the fact that he only played in 4 minutes in this game. And I just think that this is the time that you want to see some run from him, especially with no Nick Richards out there. You want to see, what your second-round big man can do for you. Next up, Colin Sexton. And so, look, he continues to be a storyline for the Bulls. And I think that now, with what happened to Jaden Ivey, which we're going to talk about that in a moment, you wonder if the Bulls would go ahead and they're going to invest in him this offseason and bring him back. And so 20 points off the bench. And so he continues to be a bucket getter, just instant offense for the Bulls, plays with the heart, plays with the passion out there. And so 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 of 6 from deep, 8 of 15 from the field in 27 minutes. Next up, Rob Dillingham. And so a tough one from the field as far as knocking down shots for Rob Dillingham. And so 6 points, a +2 in the plus minus box score. He did have the 1 steal. He had the 1 block. He did have 2 turnovers, 0 of 5 from deep, 3 of 12 from the field in 20 minutes. And so still 7 games to go. Hopefully we see some more from Rob Dillingham because he's shown some moments, but he hasn't put together, I think a lot of those moments like Leonard Millier has, but it doesn't mean that he can't put something together over these next 7 games. I think it's very important with these players that we just talked about off the bench. In fact, I think it's all about these players as you continue to roll forward with these last 7 games. And so next, I wanted to go ahead and jump into just the team box score here. So quickly taking a look at that. And so you see that the Bulls really struggled from downtown in this game. And so only 30% from the 3-point line. The Spurs shot 41% there as they shot 14 of 34, the Bulls 13 of 44. Then next, when you look at the free throw percentage for both teams, they were both at 71%. I think that this is something that the Bulls really have got to get better at as a team because I think that they've struggled a little bit there as far as leaving some money at the table at the free throw line. The Spurs lead in the assist 31-26, 8-7. The Spurs lead with the steals 7-4. Bulls lead with the block shots there. And then also, too, continuing on here in the box score, just taking a look at just the turnovers. And so 11-12 for the Chicago Bulls there. And so you see that the Spurs led there in that category. They had 2 points less as far as the turnovers. And so it's good to see that the Bulls only had 11 turnovers, but still the amount of points off those turnovers, not good. The fast break points, 23-10. The Spurs were able to get out and run. So a good job there from the San Antonio Spurs of getting it done there. As far as the points in the paint, 66-56, the Spurs lead there, 29-4 as far as the biggest lead. And so 29 for the Spurs, just 4 for the Chicago Bulls. And so next, I wanted to go ahead and jump into the latest here around Jaden Ivey, as that really has been the dominant storyline around the Chicago Bulls. It certainly was the dominant storyline going into this game against the San Antonio Spurs. And so if you've not got a chance to see this, this is everywhere at this point in time. But the Chicago Bulls released Jaden Ivey due to the fact of some conduct detrimental to the team. And so, look, I'm not going to go into his Instagram lives. You can do that for yourself. There were several out there for him. I believe it's at least 3 or 4 that were talked about with him. And so, with Jaden Ivey, there's 2 points here. And so the first one being that, look, I hope that Jaden Ivey is okay, just as a person. And, I hope everything works out for him. And then next, just looking at this from a basketball standpoint, I think that really I look at the front office and I just wonder, from just looking at the trade deadline, right? And just really looking at the players that they acquired now as you put together the pieces here, it really seems like that they have something with Leonard Miller. They have the potential with Rob Dillingham. We still need to see something over the next, 7 games or so. But you really question now, not just the Jaden Ivey move, but also too, I think the Anthony Simons move, because, both of those players ended up just going down for the Chicago Bulls, and it was due to injuries that they were already dealing with. And so with Jaden Ivey, yes, we knew that he was dealing with the knee issue and everything else, and he played in those 4 games or so. But it just seems like that, after everything was said and done, maybe it was a lot worse than they initially thought when they went ahead and traded for him. And so I just wonder, with the front office, if they just did all their homework there, because I just think about, the situation that happened there with Kobe White. And I believe that the Charlotte Hornets were able to, I think, get a pick back from the Chicago Bulls because they missed a calf strain. And so I just wonder, with AK, when it came down to the injuries, did he really just take a look at that all the way? I think that is something that you have to wonder with this front office, which is why I said, in the last video, that if you were to give me the option between the two, if you have to move on from one to the other, talking about the front office or, head coach Billy Donovan, I think that, look, I would be more so with going ahead and just changing the front office up and just really trying to change there from the top and then going down to the bottom. I think that is probably what the Bulls are going to need to do as far as getting on the same page. And they're going to have to do something because the NBA draft, it's going to come up very quickly here. And I think the Bulls really have got to be on the same page as they try to turn this thing around. But, this is unfortunate, again, with the Jaden Ivey situation there. I do like the fact that the Bulls did go ahead and they were really trying to take a chance on a player that, if he does work out here, it would have been an absolute steal because you didn't really give up too much to get him. Just really with what he had done so far earlier in his career, with the Detroit Pistons, I believe right around almost 20 points a game. You were just wondering, look, if that athleticism comes back, can he be a player that plays alongside of Josh Giddey? But unfortunately, it is not going to be with the Chicago Bulls here as they release him again with just conduct that is detrimental to the team. Again, if you want to just read about that or see some of the videos to see what was said, you can go ahead and do it for yourself there. And so, again, I'm just hoping that Jaden Ivey as a person is okay. And then also, too, I just think about this from the Bulls and their standpoint there. Look, you have 2 players that were injured coming over to the Chicago Bulls, and ultimately they ended their season injured, just dealing with the same injuries that they had there. Because with Anthony Simons there, it was found that he had that fracture, whatever the case may be, that he was dealing with since earlier in the season there. And so he played on it and everything else. And so you wonder, okay, the Bulls made that trade. They had to know about that. And then with the Jaden Ivey situation, again, you knew that he was dealing with the knee, but the fact that they were unable to find out that, hey, he was dealing with, something that was just a little bit more than maybe they, thought about with the whole knee situation before they got him. You wonder about that. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking as far as this latest news around Jaden Ivey and being waived there, what you guys are thinking there. Also, too, let me know what you guys are thinking as far as the key takeaways from the game. Again, I talked about Colin Sexton. I talked about Leonard Miller as well. I thought that those were certainly some of the bright spots here for the Chicago Bulls. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. And look, as we always say, go Bulls. And again, I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.